It's a real shame that there's only a Land of the Dead in Mexico and not in England, because I just wish I could see Harry again. It's Coco. Roll the trailer.
Lovely.
Once every year, our ancestors come back to our world.
Please have a safe journey.
To see family and friends. But no living person has ever visited their world. Until now.
Oh, God. Coco was directed by Lee Unkrich, and it stars Anthony Gonzalez. I'm definitely not reading this off of my phone. Gail Garcia Bernal and Benjamin Bratt. I know him. I can pronounce his name easily. It's Pixar's latest, and it's fucking wonderful.
Oh, God. I cried so many times. I was just silently sobbing in the cinema, and I looked to my left, and Tom is also crying, and I looked to my right, and Steph, the Yorkshire goddess, is stoically staring at the screen, holding back emotion.
Yeah, but we know on the inside. I honestly, anyone who this doesn't affect on some level, I'm going to be surprised by. The plot has a lot of twists and turns. Essentially, if I was to boil it down, it's about a young boy who wants to play music. His family don't want him to play music. They are staunchly against the playing of music. It sounds odd, and it is.
I know, it's kind of, they play it to like a comedically exaggerated effect, but it comes across. Like,
it comes across okay.
They bring it like in a very light way at some points when she's just yelling, "No music" at mariachi bands, and other times when she upsets him quite badly over it.
And this leads to him rebelliously running to go and get this guitar from a guy that he respects, from the memorial of the guy he respects. He plays the guitar, and it mystically transports him into the Mexican Land of the Dead, where he soon finds out that the way that we survive in the Land of the Dead is if your family that are still alive remember you. He comes across a guy played by Benjamin Bratt who wants to make sure that his family still remembers him and needs a picture returned. That's as much as I can boil it down.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on plot-wise, the more I think about it, and it's hard to surmise, really.
Yeah, it's typical Pixar style where there's a lot of twists and turns. It takes a very simple plot and then takes it in very interesting ways, I think.
Yeah, I think eventually it does. It does. It is, for me, Coco is like, when it hits emotionally, it's incredibly effective, really effective.
Yep.
But then at times, especially in the first kind of half, there's some kind of sense of going through the motions in, like, we've been in animated films in magical worlds before, there's the same kind of feeling to it. The Land of the Dead looks great, but it's not anything particularly striking in terms of its newness, if you know what I mean.
I get what you mean. It did kind of just look like a stylized, like, Metropolis. It's built up stylistically, and that's the main factor that makes it interesting. Like, it's built like it's all on a hilltop, and there's brighter colours than there is necessarily in the Land of the Living.
Yeah.
All right, who's in there?
I'm sorry. What's going on? Dante, wait up! You gotta stay with me, boy. We don't know where we are. I'm just dreaming.
Do you mind?
That was something I found quite interesting, is that you would imagine in films like this, there's a real contrast in like colouring, and especially with it being an animated film. You know, I remember, I think it's in Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, for example, the Land of the Living is grey and monochrome and deathly, and then of course they go to the Land of the Dead, and it's colourful and bright and extravagant. In this, the film is just so pretty to look at.
Oh, absolutely.
That it's kind of just different types of pretty. The real Mexico looks gorgeous, and then the Land of the Dead is like a neon version of that gorgeous, which some may like or dislike. You might want a little bit more variety, I guess, visually, but that's kind of one of the few things that I could say that detracts from Coco, because we say this is in the first half. When it gets into the second half and revelations start happening to do with characters and conflicts and just so many emotions, my bottom lip couldn't handle it anymore.
Promise we wouldn't spoil it for the station manager.
Yeah.
Like the twists are very resonant, and
Very, yeah.
except for one which I find a little difficult to believe. You'll get what I mean when I see it, but one of them's very telenovela style.
Right.
Shocking reveal.
Yeah.
Rather than something that's.
What's
slightly
telenovela?
normal. It's kind of like it's like a soap. But
What? Oh, soap opera.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
they're just bathing.
Yeah. Bathing.
I know. I said it.
Miguel? What is going on?
Remind me how I know you?
They're your family.
We have to get you back home.
It's ultimately part of the very emotional message that the film wants to get across.
Yeah.
And by the time it finishes, it's honestly one of the most emotionally resonant films I've seen in a long time. I was feeling this
Honestly.
for weeks
And I think that
afterwards.
comes from, it has like kind of an inversion of the usual kids movie tropes, like morals, if that makes sense, because the moral of most kids movies is follow your dreams and your family will support you, ultimately. Even if you meet like sort of resistance from them, ultimately they're going to help you follow your dreams if they love you. Whereas this kind of prioritizes family over personal goals.
Yeah.
And I think that hits us a lot more now that we're at an age where we're going from uni to the workplace.
Yeah,
and we're beginning to value those connections a bit more.
Yeah, definitely a film that students would like to go watch. I think it would be a great one if you can get your flat together and go and see who survives through it without crying or whatever.
Absolutely, it makes you want to visit your family so much.
Yeah,
I got so homesick watching it.
And it honestly just a wonderful film. We recommend it wholeheartedly. If there was one other criticism I had of it, and this is a very weird one that may only affect me, because I look for this kind of thing, but for the first time ever, I felt like I was watching an animated film where I thought the animation was too good, which sounds weird.
The Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, right. The textures of the skin of the human characters and
it's the elderly people,
the
isn't
elderly
it?
people. This is exactly. I'm glad you picked up on it as well. The elderly people are designed like cartoon characters. They're designed like Disney characters, and they have like square heads and excessive wrinkles and sort of very crotchety like bodies where they're like this. But the rendering of them as a computer animated figure is so meticulously detailed that it looks like a transmogrified human being.
I get what you mean.
It
No,
looks
I
like
had
a human being put through putty, and it's just kind of odd at times. Like,
I'm
'cause it's
surprised
so
you
good.
feel that way, because the two films I've had that feeling with before are The Polar Express and the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol.
Right, these are two films that I'm an apologist for. I understand that they're creepy to a lot of people. They are obvious Uncanny Valley because they're motion captured. And yeah, without a doubt, like you get it with that. For me though, they look more animated, and so I'm able to distance it. I don't. My brain works strangely. I don't know why, but there are moments in
So
Polar
unique.
Express and Christmas Carol where they just look weird and they just look flat out uncomfortable.
Children, I have none to give.
In this one, they never look uncomfortable. No. It's just that the figures are sketched like cartoons, and they are textured like us, like a
Maybe
human
that's
being.
why half the
And
film, all the characters were
are
skeletons.
Exactly. So once they get into skeletons, it's absolutely fine. But there's the odd shot of his grandmother and his great-great-great-grandmother. Great characters, but occasionally you're like, they look too good.
By the
considering
way,
their heads are squares.
His great-grandmother is Coco.
Would you recommend it?
Absolutely. Oh, I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I just want to weep and hug my mum.
Same. I can't wait to watch it again. And any family or definite flatmates, I honestly think it would be a fun night out. Weirdly enough, do you know what I mean? Like it just sort of to see like
Pre
test
and watch
each other.
Coco together.
Yeah, Prees and Coco. Still out at view. Go see it. Wonderful film.
Welcome! Anything to declare?
As a matter of fact, yes.